Episode 110, Collecting Comedy Extravaganza.
Now, I must confess, I am not the most organized person in the world. In fact, I envy collectors because they have a system for their stuff. Me? I just have a system for losing things. It's called Where Did I Put It? But let's talk about collectors. They are a fascinating breed, aren't they? These are the people who look at a perfectly ordinary item and go, I must have it. It must be mine. They collect everything from stamps to action figures, from vintage records to toenail clippings. Okay, maybe not the toenail clippings, but you get the idea. Now, being a collector means you have to know your stuff. You have to be an expert in whatever it is you collect. I tried collecting coins once, and I thought I hit the jackpot when I found a shiny quarter from 1987. I proudly showed it to my friend who's a numismatist, which is just a fancy word for a coin collector. And you know what he said? He said, "That's just a quarter, dude." Well, excuse me, Mr. High and Mighty. It's a 1987 quarter. Clearly, I'm rolling in the big bucks here. But collectors are not just passionate about their items, they're also fiercely protective of them. If you dare touch their precious collection without permission, they'll give you a death stare that could make a lion shrink back in fear. I once had a friend who collected vinyl records, and he kept them in these super fancy sleeves to protect them. He invited me over and said, "Hey, check out my collection, but don't touch anything." I was like, "Sure, I'll just use my telekinetic powers to browse through your records then." The tension in that room was thicker than a polar bear wearing a down jacket. And let's not forget the thrill of the hunt. Collectors are like treasure hunters, scouring garage sales, thrift stores, and online auctions in search of that elusive piece to complete their collection. It's like an adrenaline rush, except instead of jumping off a cliff, you're rummaging through someone's old sock drawer. But hey, one person's trash is another collector's shiny new addition, right? But the funniest thing about collectors is how they justify their obsession. They'll say things like, "It's an investment," or "It brings me joy." Meanwhile, their bank accounts are weeping silently in the corner. But hey, who needs a retirement fund when you have a collection of Beanie Babies that could rival the GDP of a small country? In conclusion, being a collector is like being a kid in a candy store, except instead of candy, it's old comic books or vintage tea sets. It's a world where every item has a story, and every shelf is a shrine to passion and obsession. So, let's raise a glass to all the collectors out there, because without them, we wouldn't have garage sales or antique shops. And I wouldn't have this rusty spoon that's apparently worth a fortune in the year 3023. Cheers. Now, being a collector comes with its fair share of joys and, of course, comical moments. First, let's talk about the thrill of the hunt. It's like a treasure hunt for grown-ups. We're not searching for gold or ancient artifacts, but the rush is just the same. We spend hours scouring flea markets, garage sales, and online auctions, hoping to stumble upon that one rare gem that will complete our collection. And let's not forget the joy of finding a bargain. You know that feeling when you find a priceless item at a ridiculously low price? It's like winning the lottery, but instead of cash, you're rewarded with a dusty old trinket that no one else saw the value in. Hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Just don't let the tax assessor catch wind of your amazing finds. They might start charging you property tax based on your hidden treasures. But being a collector also means you have to deal with some challenges. Like the eternal battle for display space. We start with one small shelf, thinking it'll be enough, but before we know it, our collection has multiplied like rabbits, and suddenly, we're faced with the dilemma of where to put everything. The dining table becomes a display case, the bathroom becomes a gallery, and the bedroom, well, let's just say sleep becomes a daring adventure, maneuvering through a labyrinth of precious figurines and antique clocks. And let's not forget about the reactions we get from friends and family who just don't understand our obsession. They walk into our homes, see the walls covered in vintage posters or action figures lining every surface, and they give us that look, you know the one, a mix of confusion, amusement, and a hint of concern for our sanity. But hey, at least we're not collecting toenail clippings or belly button lint. That's a whole other level of eccentricity. Oh, and let's talk about the struggles of organizing our collections. We spend hours meticulously categorizing and cataloging our treasures, only to forget where we put that one item we've been searching for all day. It's like playing hide and seek with inanimate objects. And don't even get me started on the heart-stopping moment when something accidentally falls and breaks. It's as if time slows down, and we have a mini heart attack, hoping that glue and a little bit of luck can work their magic. But despite all the challenges, being a collector brings us so much joy. We're curators of our own little worlds, surrounded by pieces of history, nostalgia, and the quirky things that make us smile. And hey, if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, we'll have a head start on bartering with our collections. I'll trade you 3 vintage vinyl records for a can of beans. Just remember, when someone asks if you have any spare change, you can proudly say, "No, but I have a mint condition 1964 silver dollar." Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's great to be here tonight, and I have to say, I'm really excited to talk to you all about being a collector. Now, I'm not talking about collecting stamps or coins, oh no. I'm talking about the kind of collecting that turns your living room into a jungle of action figures, vinyl records, and comic books. Being a collector is like embarking on a never-ending quest. It starts innocently enough with one item. Maybe it's a Funko Pop figure of your favorite superhero. But before you know it, your shelves are packed, your bank account is empty, and you find yourself on a first-name basis with every employee at your local comic book store. They've even given you your own parking spot. But collecting isn't all sunshine and rainbows, my friends. Oh no, there are challenges along the way. Like when you finally find that rare, limited edition item you've been searching for, only to realize it costs more than your monthly rent. Suddenly, you're torn between your passion and your need for shelter. Well, at least I can live in my Batcave, you say, as you hand over your credit card. And let's not forget the joy of assembling IKEA furniture for your collectibles. You've got your Allen wrench in one hand, and the instructions in the other, desperately trying to build that display case while battling your own frustration. You're halfway through, and you're convinced this is some sort of cruel test from the universe. If you can survive this, you deserve to own that life-size Darth Vader statue, it whispers to you. But despite the challenges, being a collector is also a source of endless amusement. You start talking to your collection like they're your family. Oh, don't mind Aunt Sally, she's just a vintage Barbie. And you throw parties for your friends, only to realize they're just there for the free food, not to admire your carefully curated collection of 90s Beanie Babies. And let's not forget the thrill of the hunt. You become a master detective, scouring garage sales, flea markets, and online auctions for that one elusive piece to complete your collection. You'll be in a dark alley, negotiating with a shady character, haggling over the price of a vintage Star Wars action figure. It's like you're in your own action movie, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This is for the fate of the galaxy. You yell dramatically, while your friends look at you like you've lost your mind. So, my fellow collectors, embrace the chaos, revel in the hunt, and remember that your passion makes life a little more colorful. Just be careful not to trip over that pile of Funko Pops on your way out tonight. Thank you, and remember, keep collecting and keep laughing.
And that wraps up another laughter-filled episode of Not So Funny A. If you enjoyed the jokes generated by our AI algorithms, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our comedy-loving community.